Well, hi there. This is Carrie from Stamp with CT. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Texas. And I am super happy to be here with you today. Excited to have some friends join me live and through the replay. So either way, excited to have you here with me. I love spending a little bit of time on Wednesdays crafting and connecting with you. Gosh, today is already the 23rd of July. I worked at the clinic this morning and oh man, it was busy. And we were talking about how quickly it will feel like Christmas is here. So, just been very busy. But love taking this time out to craft and connect with you. It's lots of fun. I'll wait just a minute and hopefully some friends can join in. I usually do have a couple of loyal friends that are able to, but I know a lot of people are at work still, so lots of people watching the replay. I cannot thank y'all enough for all of the support you've given us recently. Always, but especially recently. My Facebook page has grown from 1,600 followers to 33, almost 3,400 in the last 3 months. And what I really attribute that to is the fact that we've been doing reels, and we're having so much fun doing that. Dale helps me a lot with that. I love the way he stamps, and you can see exactly what's going on in the videos and stuff. It's really cool. And we just have a lot of fun putting those together and hopefully inspire and teach a bit along the way too. So it's really grown. We have a lot of new friends that are watching reels and videos and participating. So we're so thankful for that. But I'm never going to forget that I have lots of friends that have been helping me along the way all these years. I think my Facebook page I've had for about 10 years. And then of course, if you're watching over on YouTube, appreciate you as well. Hope you'll say hi as you hop in. If you're watching the replay, I know you guys usually type in replay. I appreciate that, so I know who's able to stop by. Be sure to hit that thumbs up or heart too. That really helps. And I appreciate that so much. We spend a lot of time coming up with ideas, prepping things, doing the videos. We don't do a lot of editing, but a little bit. And so it really is very encouraging to see that growth. So we thank you very much. Dale and I thank you. And Oliver, the crafty pup. Oliver is with me in the craft room today. He was there, very excited when I came home from work. And now he's taking a nap. So we're going to be making a Z-fold card today, y'all. I went ahead and made a reel with this earlier, and you'll be seeing it, I think, tomorrow on our page. But this is a Z-fold card, little birthday card that I came up with. I really wanted to use this fold, and I wanted to use these dies. So let's talk a little bit about the supplies that we'll be using. This is called Cake Celebration. And these dies are still current. They're on the last chance list. And when I looked last night, they were still available. They were $16.60, which that is a fabulous deal, I feel like, for what you get. Now, the stamp set is not available anymore. And while it is super cute, to be honest with you, I did not utilize this stamp set enough when it was current. I will probably keep it because it's a great set for birthdays. You know, a lot of times when items retire, I go ahead and sell them in my BOGO sale. I'll keep this a little while because it does have a pretty font. It has some really cute cake pieces that you can kind of build the cake and make it the way you want it to be, customize it. But these dies, like I said, they're still available and they're really, really cute. So even without the stamp set, these are a very versatile set to get. You've got a cake stand and a cake plate. You've got a couple of different cake layers and then the icing that you would put on it. And these cake layers are really fun. I went ahead and used an embossing folder on mine to give them a little bit more texture. I'll show you what I did here in just a minute. But you've got some things that cut out like flowers, and they would still work. But this is what I really loved about it, was just the dies. And I have used them a little bit more. You've got this banner here that has the little, like you can put it in the cake. So super cute. And you've got icing too that kind of looks like it's dripping. I can't remember. I guess that's what that's called when cake decorators do that. I've never been a cake decorator, but it's really a cute little set. So I wanted to share this with you today. This is what I'm using mainly to create this card, along with the Turtly Cute Designer Series paper. Been playing with that a lot because we are using it for our Turtly Cute bingo this Saturday night. And it's a super cute paper. The B side is very fun, really lends itself well to celebrations like a birthday. And then I'm pulling the happy birthday sentiment from Country Birdhouse because I just wanted a little strip sentiment. And so that's what I'm using for my sentiment. And then here is what I'm using, eyelet embossing folder to emboss on the cake. So I'm hoping that that will show up, that cute embossing on the cake. It really did take it to the next level. It added so much detail, and I was really happy with how that turned out. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how to make this Z-fold card. You need to start with, let me move that out of the way, a piece of cardstock, and this is 11 by 4 1/4. You're going to score it at 2 inches and 5 1/2. So let's go ahead and start at 2 inches. And with that line up above, that can be tricky to try to see what I'm doing. So it'll be 2 inches-ish. And it's going to work out. It's not a problem. And then 5 1/2. So that really is one of the things. You can score this a little bit differently depending on the type of card you want to make, because this is a really versatile fold. So this is 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. So that's just folding it right in half. And you can actually score it where you make it, what, 2 3/4 and bring this all the way back over to the fold. But here with our 2 inches, it's just going to come back a little ways. And that's just where I did it. There are times when I score at like, I'll score at 1 3/4, 2 1/4, just depends on what you want to do. But I kind of wanted that cake to be centered up in there. I'm really going to burnish this with it being a fun fold. So another interesting thing about these measurements is you can fold this piece back and you could decorate your card. You can make this into a gift card holder. You may have seen us do that not too long ago with one of the popcorn cards that we made for Finally Friday, and we've made a reel for that. So you can make that a gift card holder. The other thing that you can do is put a stop, like just a little strip of cardstock, and with this very same fold, you can make an easel card where it stands up. So let me know if you want me to make an easel card or another gift card holder. I would be happy to, and just kind of show you with the very same measurements how versatile this fold can be. So let's go ahead on with this project, and we're going to use a piece of basic white cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. And then because we folded this back 2 inches, and there's going to be a bit of a margin, I know that if I cut this piece to 2 inches by 4, it's not going to show when the card is closed. Okay, so that's the math of that. That's my easy card math. Y'all know I'm not a math person, but that's a pretty easy one when you stop to think about it, because having this mat in here a 1/4 inch smaller is going to push that piece over. And if you're not sure, just take your piece of Designer Series paper and work on it until it all works out. I made some cards for a swap not too long ago and ended up where a bit of white showed when I closed my card. I'll show you what I mean. like on this one, we know what we're doing with our math. And when I close it, well, if I put it in there the right way, goodness, were y'all saying, Carrie, you're messing up? That's why I love my liquid glue. It gave me time to fix my boo-boo. Okay, so when we close it, there's not any white peeking out, but I made a card not too long ago that had a little bit of white peeking out, so I just cut a 1/4-inch strip of cardstock and ran down through there, and it looked like a little accent piece, and it looked like I meant to do it. So there's almost always a fix, right? Almost always. I'm going to tell you a little story too. This past weekend we had Santa's workshop and we made a bunch of Christmas cards for our service project, and Becca came in and she had stamped on the inside of her card, and after she stamped her sentiment she dropped the stamp, so she just did second generation of very light stamping of that sentiment all over the background, and it looked so cute, and nobody was ever going to know that she messed up. So there's almost always a fix. I don't think I have that super straight, but we're gonna go with it. I love that. We're creatives, right? We can come up with something to fix it. So now this piece is 3 1/4 by 4, and it's gonna go right back here. And you could probably cut this down a little bit if you wanted to, and not use that big of a piece, since that much is not really going to show the whole time. But I like to just go ahead and do it. And if I use my paper up, I get to buy more paper. But if you want to be a little bit more judicious with your paper, you could, you know, leave probably at least 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches off of that, where just this little strip showed. Now, let me bring my original card back in, because this does show a tiny bit the circle, and because this is designer series paper and it probably wouldn't be quite strong enough to be in there as the mechanism, and because of the design on the back, I just went ahead and cut a white circle, and this is the largest of the Stylish Shapes circles that I'm using. So we're just going to mat that up. And then that way that will give that a little bit more structure. And on the back will be the white. Now I could have turned that the other way where the stitching was showing, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal because it's not that big of an area. Alrighty. Next up, we're going to need to assemble our cake. And we'll put our cake stand on. I'm just going to put the tiniest bit of glue. I hope. Don't overdo it here. And put our cake stand on. This little cake stand is just cut with some gold foil sheets to add a little bit of fanciness. Little razzle dazzle, right? And then for our cake layers, pretty sure this is for the bigger one. Yes. Same thing here. I'm just going to go real lightly with a little bit of glue in a couple of places. And try not to get it all over my fingers. Just a tiny bit on my fingers at this point. And we'll add that to our layer. I just think that is so cute. And that is really popular. Oops, my glue came off. Just a second. I think partially because of the, let me make sure I've got it in the right place. Partially because of the embossing. I'm going to have to let it dry for just a second. So now I'm completely covered with glue. That was my fear. I'll be honest with y'all. Let's let that piece dry. Let me try to get a little bit of this glue off my fingers, y'all. Just rub it. But you're not crafting unless you have ink and glue on yourself, right? So let's see if this time I can do a little bit better job of not getting it on my fingers. We'll see. To be determined. TBD. I think the embossing just really makes the cake, takes the cake. That's a phrase, right? Really takes the cake. So we're going to let that dry for just a minute. So Pool Party and Shaded Spruce is the color combo that I'm using. And all I did was pull that from the Designer Series paper, from the stripes in the Designer Series paper. Now I'm going to use glue dots to add my cake. And the reason for that is to give it just a little bit of lift, but not actually with dimensionals, since I'm going to use dimensionals to add the whole circle to the card. So the glue dots will lift it a little bit of dimension. So we're just going to stack that on our cake plate. I've never been good at making cakes. Oops. Let's do a little bit better job there. Getting that centered up. Never been good at making cakes. I can cook, and I can bake bread, but not cakes. Mine usually hump up in the middle like a sheet cake, and then it has a moat of icing around it. I used to make my dad a lemon cake, and he didn't mind the moat at all, he said. He liked it. Now I came up a little bit further on the circle with this one. I should have put my cake stand down just a little bit, but it'll be okay. It's not perfect, it's handmade. And it's still gonna go on here, and it's gonna look just fine. So let me know if you're good at making cakes. If you are, I'll still love you, but I'm not. So bless their hearts. My kids, when they were growing up, they usually got a store-bought cake for their birthdays, or I would have a friend make one. One time I was trying to make Shane a cake. It was supposed to look like a baseball mitt, like a glove. And then the little cupcakes around it were supposed to be the balls. And that was supposed to be all of his friends. And we're going to put the names on it. I don't know who I thought I was that I even attempted that. It went south very quickly. And my daughter, I bet Shane was, let me stop and think, how old would he have been? Probably 5 or 6. And my daughter would have been about 7. And she ran upstairs and got the neighbor who was really good at making cakes. And Miss Kim came and saved the day. She made it so cute, but I don't know why I thought I was going to be able to do that, because it did not work. Okay. But we can't be good at everything, right? I don't know where my piercing mat is. My desk is a bit of a mess. So we're going to go ahead and do our stamping without it. But I highly recommend when you're using a photopolymer stamp that you do use a piercing mat, a mouse pad, your catalog even, so that it gives it a little cushion. But I've used this stamp enough that it's nice and seasoned, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's going to stamp for me just fine. And it did. I forgot to wet my chamois before the video, y'all, so I'll have to do that later. This is real life crafting with CT. Hot mess dumpster fire sometimes, but we have fun, don't we? Now let me find my snips. And I'm just going to cut that close to the words. And get rid of that debris. Come in and just slice that right in half without snipping my finger. That would be good. And now I think we'll go ahead and put dimensionals on this as well and pop that up. I think I have a little piece of the bones of dimensionals. That's what we like to call those side pieces. And that's going to be perfect to go on the back of this little 1/2-inch strip. To stick it down, and I'll have to find another little piece of bones. Don't forget that with your dimensionals, you can use those side pieces. I've told this story before, but when I first started crafting, I didn't know, and nobody ever taught me that, and you would think it would be intuitive, but I was throwing those side pieces away. Duh. That was back when I used pop dots, and so you had almost like this little honeycomb left in the center, and I just didn't think about it. I didn't do that very long, thankfully, before someone corrected me. One of my crafty friends. So we'll stick this one right here, the birthday. And I've got the happy stuck to my finger, so let me make sure I've got the backing off of that. There we go. Yeah, this card's positioned just a tiny bit differently, so I could have probably put my happy birthday on the other side if I wanted to. And then I'm going to bring in, these are the shades of green hexagons. Oh, they're so pretty. And we'll add a couple like I did on my sample card. I put a couple up here just to kind of balance things out. And then I wanted to put one down here by my sentiment just to kind of call attention to it just a little bit, because it is, you know, white. I probably should turn that just a tiny bit more. Kind of white on that white background, so just so that that showed up just a little bit more, put a gem down there. So that is our Z fold card. So you can see how it makes a Z and where it gets its name. Sometimes you'll hear it called a Z fold as well, European demonstrators and crafters. So that's our Z fold card, you guys. And again, let me know if you want to see this type of fold used for an easel card. I could easily do that next week. Just great, very versatile card base that you can add on to. All right, let me move this out of the way, and I've got a couple of announcements. One is that this, like I said, this die set is on the last chance list, and it is $16.60, which is a fabulous deal for such a cool set of dies. Let me see where I buried it over here, and I'll bring them back in. So now that you've seen them in action, you can see just how cute they are. There's other items on the last chance list that are marked down. Stampin' Up! Did announce free shipping. So starting today through Friday, 3 days only, free shipping on orders of $75 or more. That would be, of course, before tax. So it's always awesome to save on shipping. I hate paying shipping, but you know, we have to, but not when Stampin' Up! Offers free shipping. So don't forget about that. I did send an email out as well. And you can shop at stampwithct.stampinup.net if you do not have a demonstrator that you shop with now. I would love to have your business, love to be your demonstrator. And then I have a couple pieces of happy mail to share with you. This first card I got from my friend Becky, and this is using the Sunset Sailing bundle, and it is just really pretty. I am not sure if Becky used Wink of Stella. That's what I'm thinking she did on the sailboat. I bet that's going to show up. But the sailboat is kind of like the silhouette across the water. I love this, like the little trail that the boat would have left behind. And then she does have an embossing folder. I'm thinking that may be that Soft Waves embossing folder. Not positive, but I think that's what it is. Such a sweet card. I love getting cards in the mail. And I love it when they're made with Stampin' Up! Product, and I immediately know, oh, hey, that's a bundle that I don't have. So that was really fun to get to see this up close, and I appreciate it, Becky. This is a beautiful card. I have made a decision that I'm going to start posting pictures of the cards that I receive, and I think I'm going to call it Mailbox Monday. And so when I receive cards the next week, I'll post them on Monday so you guys can get a little bit better look at them too. And it gives me a chance to really feature some of the crafting that my friends are doing. So if you send me a card, I'll show it on Facebook Live, and then I'll post it that following Monday. And of course, give you credit. And, you know, if I know what Stampin' Up! Product, then I'll share that too. I just think it's more inspiration. I think that will be fun. Now, this next card that I got is not from Stampin' Up! Product, but it's awesome. And it has this cute little note, and it says, my job is simple. Let me get it closer where I can read it. My job is simple. My job isn't hard. I'm simply here to protect your card. So she hand wrote that on this piece. It looks like photo paper, probably a little scrap that she had. I've seen people put cardstock on the front of the card as well when they're mailing it, just to keep that machine from messing up the front of the card. But when you see this darling card from my friend Flor, and she lives in Arizona, and we have never met in person, but we message back and forth on Messenger, and we may go a month or so without communicating, and then we just pick up where we left off. She is an amazing crafter. She makes all kinds of things. China dolls. She hand paints and hand makes their clothes. Just beautiful. She does dolls. I believe she does sewing, maybe painting, but paper crafting for sure. But isn't this just beautiful? I love this. And the phrase on there too, very pretty. So I wanted to share this with you too. I'll take a picture of this. And again, it's not Stampin' Up! Product, but isn't it so cute? And I think we can learn from each other, and we can inspire each other, even if it's not Stampin' Up! Product. There's so many awesome products out there. Okay, I think that's it for today. I appreciate you being here and would love to get your feedback on what you think about our Z-Fold card and the fact that those dies are on such a good sale. I love that. Okay, I appreciate you very much. I'll see you again next Wednesday, and I hope that you'll continue to craft and make pretty things.